You want to buy a house and you're not 100% sure what you actually need to do to go from actually finding the house, settling on the house, and getting the keys in your hand. Watch this video to find out more. In this video, I'm going to give you a broad overview of the steps that you need to take so you can make it as smooth and as simple as possible. Hi, I'm Karen Kelly. I'm a buyer's advocate. I help buyers in regional New South Wales. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and also hit the little bell notification so I can send you future videos as they come out weekly. One of the biggest hurdles I see for a buyer is they're not 100% sure what they really want. So this is the first thing that I highly recommend any buyer, whether you're an investor looking for your second home or a first home buyer, it doesn't matter. Have a plan and actually know what you want to buy. If you're not 100% sure, write down what the pros and cons of what you want from this property. If you're an investor, it may be you want a project and you want to do a renovation, or it might be a set and forget type of property that you just buy it and it just pays for itself and you just leave it alone. If you're a home buyer, you might want 3 bedrooms. It's got to have 2 bathrooms. You'd like to have a big backyard. Make a full list of what you actually want, because it'll actually make the whole researching process so much more easier. Make sure you actually discuss this also with whoever you're buying it with, so you're both on the same page. If you're buying it on your own, have someone that you can talk to about it, and that way you can weigh up the pros and cons of what you really want. Sometimes they'll bring something up that you think, I never thought about that, and that would be a great thing to have in my property. The second big mistake that I see is that people start looking at properties, they fall in love with something, or it ticks all the boxes for that great investment, and they haven't got their money approved. Make sure this is one of the first things you do as soon as you work out the type of property you want. I'd even be doing this as you're deciding what type of property you want. And then that way you know how much you can spend. And from there, it's easier for you to research the market. The next person I'd say, before I even start researching the market, is get in contact with your solicitor or your conveyancer. A conveyancer is someone that solely works on property settlements. They can be more affordable than a solicitor. That's their area of expertise, and that's all they do is handle property settlements. But I'd actually let them know what you're up to, just so that they know if you bring a contract to them and it's in a hot market, or this property has got quite a few people looking at it, that you're ready to go, that they know that you're going to engage them for their services. The next person I'd go and see is I'd go and see my accountant. If I'm a property investor, I'd like to know, should I be buying this in my name or should it be in a company name? Now, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to get into all of that, but there's someone that I highly recommend that you go and see. And if you do need to have a company set up or some sort of structure set up, that you can have it done so that the day you find that right property, you can act and negotiate and try and obtain that property as quickly, as smoothly as possible. The next person I'd say of my professional list is, who am I going to get to do my pest and building? Now, this is someone, again, if it's a hot market or this property is in demand, I'd want to make sure that I had someone ready to move and go and inspect that property as quickly as I need it. So now that you've got your professional team organised, you've actually got a plan set in place that you know what type of property you're after. Now the fun actually begins. Now we can actually start to research the market. We know what price range we're looking at. We know what type of property we're really after. And we can actually start to narrow down. Now, one of the first things I'd actually do is make an area tracker. Now, if you don't have one, I've got one that I use myself for my clients, or if you'd like a copy, just leave a comment below and I can actually send it to you. And on this area tracker, I'd actually start to list what's for sale in the area that I'm looking at, what has sold in the area that I'm looking at, and put as much detail as you can so that you can actually start to gauge what properties are worth in the current market. I'd go as far as listing down what 2 bedrooms the houses are being sold for and are for sale, right through to 5-bedroom homes. This way you can start to gauge what the market is and what properties have actually been sold for and what they're listed at. I'd even try and find out how many days the house has been on the market. And what I mean by that is the day that it was listed. So say if it was listed in July and it's now come around to October, it's been on the market for 3 months. Why hasn't it sold? If it hasn't sold, has the price come down at all during that time? Because this can give you an idea if you're after this particular property, are the owners after a particular price point and that's what they want and they won't sell it at anything less? Or is there room to negotiate on that particular property? And that's why it's really important to know, just as much as the real estate agents, what properties are valued at. And one other thing I'd add on the area tracker is if you're after an investment property, make sure you add in what is currently on the rental market. But if you've done the research beforehand, you can actually go to a property and say, well, I know that I've seen these properties currently on realestate.com. This is what they're renting for. I know you can gauge roughly what type of rent you're going to get. If you're not 100% sure still what a rental return could be for a property, I'd ring a few property managers up and say to them, look, I'm currently looking for a new investment property. This is the type of property I'm after. What type of rent are you currently getting? If I buy a property and it needs renovating and I've got a new kitchen, bathroom put in, or it's completely freshly painted, what type of rental return am I going to get? Go and ask them. They're always looking for new landlords, so they'd gladly want to help, hopefully, a potential landlord that they could now manage your property. So when you start attending open homes and inspections, I'd actually take a checklist with me. Now, again, I've got a checklist that I give to my clients that if they're inspecting properties without me, that they can actually go through the property, make comments, tick off certain things. If you want a copy of that, again, leave a comment below of what you're actually after, the area tracker or the checklist, or both, and I'll send it to you. But this is something that I highly recommend. It's one way of jogging your memory that once you've gone through the property, you might have gone through 5 that day, and you just can't remember which one actually had the really nice bathroom and one didn't have as good a kitchen. And, you know, that's what it's for. You can actually start to list any repairs that you think it might need doing. I'd also ask the agent if you're allowed to take photos. Now, this may be something that they don't want to be done, and make sure you're respectful of the owner and their privacy. Another thing to do when you're attending open homes is make sure you speak to the agent and tell them where you are in your buying process. If you're ready to buy, let them know. I'm a serious buyer or I'm a serious property investor, and that if this house doesn't, and if this house doesn't suit, that this is the type of property I'm after. Now, if you are a property investor and you think you've found the right property for you, but you're just not 100% sure, is it going to break even? Is it going to be passive income, or am I going to be negatively geared? I've actually got a property investment calculator that you can use. I will leave the link down below for you to use. It's on our website and it's called Property Calculator. And it's a great way to determine, after all of your costs, interest rates, it'll even calculate what the monthly return will be for interest rates and what your net or positive profit will be. And it'll also calculate what the current growth rate could be over the next 1, 5 to 10 years. So it's a really good tool to use, but I'll leave the link down below for you to actually get access to that. So the next stage, we've done our research. We've checked out the property investment calculator. This property, for an investment property, it looks good. Or if you're a home buyer and you think, yep, this is the one I want, now more fun begins and we start negotiating for our home. Because you've done the market research and because you've become a local expert and you know the market inside and out, you should be fairly confident now with the price that you're actually going to offer. And you know what's actually been sold on the market in recent weeks or months. I'd use the information that you've compiled from your area tracker when it comes to your negotiating. So when you present your offer to the real estate agent, you can say, this is my offer and these are my reasons why. I can compare it to these properties that have been sold and I believe this is a fair price. At the same time of your negotiation, you can add in any special conditions that you want to, such as it might be a pest in building, or it could be that You want to find out through council that you may be able to add a granny flat to the back or whatever it may be. This is where you actually put in, when you do your negotiating, what your special conditions are that you require for that contract. If you're not 100% sure what to put in there, that's when you go to your conveyancer or your solicitor and say, look, this is what I want to do with the property. I need help to be able to present this to the agent so I can get the best offer for me. So once the offer's been accepted, this is what I'd actually make sure you get your pest and building done as quickly as possible, especially before contracts have been exchanged. If there are any special conditions, this is when I'd actually act upon getting these done as quickly as possible. And this is where you carry out your due diligence. Make sure that you cover everything possible. If you're not 100% sure, go to your conveyancer, make sure they talk you through it step by step. So you've done everything. So when it comes to the signing of the contracts and getting the contracts exchanged, you can do this with confidence. So when you go to sign the contracts, there's actually in New South Wales, there's 2 contracts. They're exactly the same, and you'll be signing both. So once you've signed both contracts and the contracts have been exchanged to the solicitors or the conveyancers, this is when the document becomes legal. And at this stage, this is when you'll actually be paying your deposit. Now, there is a cooling off period, and this starts the moment contracts have been exchanged. This goes for 5 business days, and it finishes at 5 p.m. on the 5th business day. During the cooling off period, the purchaser can pull out of the contract, the vendor cannot. But once the cooling off period has completed, if the buyer decides that they want to pull out of the contract, you can actually lose your deposit, or it can cost you quite significantly. So make sure you've done all of your due diligence and ticked everything off before you sign the contract. You can actually waiver a cooling off period. You have to sign a special document for that. Again, speak to your conveyancer and they'll organise this for you. Mainly, you'd only do this is if, say, it's a hot market and you don't want to miss out on the property. But this is something, again, you need to speak to your conveyancer or solicitor to make sure it's the right thing for you. Once the cooling off period has finalised, then you go into the settlement. And during this time, this is where your conveyancer or solicitor plus your banking institute will actually start to prepare for the settlement. Now, in New South Wales, it's generally about 6 weeks, but again, this is something that you can negotiate longer or shorter terms. This can be something that can be quite attractive to a vendor if they want to get in and out of this property as quickly as possible, or it might even suit them that they can't move to the next property or can't move out of here for whatever reason, and they want a long settlement. So these are things that you can try and negotiate into your favour if it's all possible. Again, if you're not 100% sure what's happening, keep in contact with your conveyancer. They'll let you know step by step what to expect. So I hope this broad overview gives you an insight to what to expect when you go to buy your next property. So whether you're a homeowner or you're looking for an investment property, make sure that you've got a plan or a goal of what you actually want to achieve. Write it down. Make sure you've discussed it with the people that you're buying with, all on the one page. Make sure you got your finance pre-approved, especially if you need it. Make sure you got your professional people ready to act as soon as you found the property that you're after. And the last thing is become the local expert. Go and research the market. Spend the time and find out what houses are currently for sale and what they've been sold for, how many days they've been on the market. If you're a property investor, make sure you check out the rental market and know exactly what the type of property you're after, what rental return they'll get. And if you need to work out the profit or loss on that property, we've used the property investor calculator we've got on our website, and the link's down below. If you ever needed any help in buying a property in regional New South Wales, or you just wanted someone to spin some ideas off because you're just not 100% sure, book an appointment with Today. I'd gladly help you in any way I can. If you've liked what you've seen in this video, hit the like button, hit the bell notification to get future videos, and subscribe to our channel. But until next time, happy investing.